asked Daddy a question, and then you started off telling that. I asked Daddy about it, what, if there's anything more you know about your daddy. I know your daddy died and you're just 2 years old, but I just, you know anything much about your daddy?
I
Or
don't know anything about his daddy.
No, I know.
who would
All I
anybody that
know
would
is
know?
just what I heard
He's just a farmer and
down through
he
the
had
years.
5 children with his first wife.
You already said all that, Mama.
Okay, and
What-
then he had 4 with his second wife.
Mama, you already said all that.
You
I'm
don't have to
wondering
tell
if
her that.
anything, you don't have to tell me anything, you
That's
just
all
told
it
me.
was to him.
Well,
He was a farmer. He was just a farmer.
You don't have any idea where he came from, or
No, well,
what, you know,
his parents were, they lived at the old Jilton, Bob Jilton, you know, ain't out there, Uncle Bob
I wonder where they were born.
and Uncle
Where they were
Uncle
buried.
Frank Johnston.
His daddy's people.
first I ever heard of it. I don't know if I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uncle Bob Jilton.
Uncle Bob,
Ain't either.
that's your daddy's brother?
Sister.
Ain't either is my daddy's sister.
Ain't Ida what now?
Ain't either Jilton. She married Uncle Bob Jilton. He lived to be 97, 98 years old. He was a cowboy in Dallas for a long time, and he liked to talk quite a bit, and he didn't have too much education.
What did they say he lived in Dallas most of the time?
She didn't. They didn't. He was about 40-something years old before he married Ain't I? And she was up in years too.
Yeah.
But when he'd be talking, he'd say he'd always just about, he wouldn't be talking to him too long, but he'd say out yonder in Dallas, out yonder in Dallas. And he was a big. He could tell.
When they moved back up here, or?
See, that he was cowboy in his younger days
Yeah.
in Texas.
Yeah.
But she didn't. He came here, and that's when he met Ain't I
Oh, I see, yeah.
Ain't I living.
I see.
And then Uncle Frank, Papa's brother, lived with
Frank Jocelyn?
Uncle Frank Jocelyn, lived with Ain't Ida and Uncle Bob all the time that I ever knew him, over there close to the Adkinses, and not too far from the old, where old Grandpa Hines and them homesteaded, not over half a mile, probably from it might have been quite a half a mile, not over half a mile, on the same little country road. And that was where her mother, my dad's mother, I saw her, I remember her, but my granddaddy had already died before I was born.
Where would she be buried?
His name was Charles Jocelyn. And
that was who now?
That was my granddaddy, my daddy's daddy. And his wife, my grandmother, lived several years after he died, and she lived with Ain't Ida and Uncle Bob.
7 years after your daddy died? Or after?
Yeah.
After her daddy.
After
No,
her
mother, let me
husband.
tell it, dear.
Okay.
Because you're saying yeah, and it should be no.
Okay.
Okay.
After my granddaddy died,
She lived. Yeah.
for several more years.
Your grandmother.
My grandmother, and she lived with Aunt Ida and
Right.
Uncle Bob Jilton and Uncle Frank.
Which was
Uncle
her.
Frank Jocelyn never did marry.
Was her aunt. I mean, which was her.
Her daughter.
Yeah.
Her daughter. See, Aunt Ida. And
Right,
her
she
name
lived
was
with her own daughter.
Her name was Mariah.
That was your grandmother.
My grandmother's name was Mariah. And Lily's name, you know,
Mariah Johnson.
Ain't
Right.
Yeah, that's right. And Lily, you know,
And
my
his
sister,
name was Charles.
my granddad's name was Charles.
You don't know full name or
Uh,
Charles?
I had to look on the tombstone over there.
Yeah. They're up to Hopewell too?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I probably got the
Yeah,
pictures of it, I've got
Yeah.
pictures of all that.
yeah. And,
That was 7 or 8 years ago when we went up there.
yeah,
About 8 years ago.
But didn't you never have said anything about your daddy's,
And-
mother and daddy being buried at Hopewell, the tombstones?
Uncle Bob lived to be in 97 or 98 years old, Uncle Bob's children. And he and Aunt Ida, they never did have any children.
That's, Bob Chilton was the one from Texas.
Bob Jones, one from Texas that married
That married your
my
Your aunt.
sister, Ida.
aunt. Yeah, your dad's sister.
And her brother, Uncle Frank, never did marry, and he lived with them all the time that I ever knew him,
Right.
for years.
Well, he
and
really
years and years.
probably was living there at that house when
Uncle Frank was,
I married Jill.
he was,
And that's between Glenn's and Hopewell Church.
yeah, on the roundabout route.
Yeah.
On the route around by the old Crow Wheel and John West Coke's, John Wesley Coke's place back down there.
What road do they call it?
I
Road that they,
don't know
It'd
what
be
they
the
call it.
Hopewell Road going around through there.
No, it wasn't Hopewell Road.
It's back the other side of it.
It wasn't Hopewell Road, but.
Gravel road now? It'll still be gravel road?
Yes.
I think they got it blacktop now.
Yeah. But it's somewhere roundabout between Glenn's and,
Sometime
between
to
Glenn's
go up there and just, go, take your time and go through.
Circle
It'd
it.
be hard to point out, I mean, to
Well, I'm sure it
locate
would,
places now.
You tried to find
Well,
it one time to
they
show
changed it
me.
so much, but you can tell,
general area.
You know, we came back through there one time, a year or so ago, Mother, when we were up there and almost got lost. Didn't know where we were, because they changed the road some.
But then when, after Mr. Jocelyn died, and left Miss Nellie with all the children, some of his children of his first family went and lived with, somebody stayed there with her, and some, I know Allie went to her grandparents, the Potses, and stayed with them, Grandpa and Grandma Potts. They had a grocery store over across
So
the
that would
road.
be her mother's side of the family. Allie's mother's side of the family, Potts.
Yeah.
That's how I always wondered how that name came into our family. I know we used to always go over to the Potts sometime, and they were kin to Allie and them, and
See,
and I always wondered, I couldn't remember exactly how that
Allie and Lily's,
connection came. And
Allie and Lily's mother was a Potts. Willard Potts' sister, which
Georgia Potts.
would be Willard Potts,
Potts, Miller.
would be Willard Potts' aunt, of course.
Yeah.
That's the reason Millard and Allie, the Pottses and you and Lily and all the first cousins.
And then,
They've always seemed like kinfolks to me because we.
Yeah.
and Miss Nellie then, to make a living, she taught school.